What's up, boys?
Hello.
What's up?
Hey, that's the energy I'm looking for. I know everybody's so pumped. It's a super special episode. Everybody's got so many good things planned.
Why?
We'll get to that in a minute, Chad. It's very exciting. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome back to The Forecast, the bi-weekly podcast about everything games, film, and news. I'm Aaron Juno.
I'm Alex McCausland.
I'm Ben Diaz.
I'm Caleb Juno.
I'm Shitty Chad Mac McCausland.
And I'm Jake Fetter Kyle.
On today's special episode, number 200, we have an especially lame episode for you, full of nothing especially special. Also, Japan is being Japan again and making the rest of the world look lame, and an animated film makes a splash in the summer of 2024. Plus, Game Pass is making some pricing adjustments, and of course, we've been playing games. If you'd like to know more about what we do, you can follow us on our social channels. You can check out our website, wearetherising.com. We have a ton of original content for you to browse through, including our hopefully recently completed, because I stopped up with the last video, Discord and Signal. And we're going to be starting our new campaign on Monday, which I think we're all very excited about, to go to 2E.
Yeah, not terrified at all. Feeling great. It'll be good.
Additionally, whatever we talk about is pushed out to our cast notes, which pushed out to whatever podcasting app you're using. Let's get into it, guys.
Dude, like
what?
Imagine like you just said that this wasn't a special episode. Like we had nothing planned. That was just all a ruse, and it's like super meta, and like we actually have a lot planned.
Oh, it's so special.
Should just not mention it at the very end of the episode, right before we sign off. Just be like, "Oh yeah, happy 200th episode."
Yeah, at the very no. So like this is actually gonna be a 4-hour episode because part of it, after the 3 hours that we talk, we're gonna watch an episode of Arrow together.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
finally the return.
What?
I was gonna say,
why?
Ben, the duration matters not, because if you ever go onto our YouTube channel, and you look at like the watch duration of everybody that watches our videos, it's like 3 minutes.
Yeah,
and they stop. So they're like, all right, I've had enough.
They listen to our names in the intro, and then that's it.
Yep,
that's the most important part.
Pretty average. Pretty average.
I think you know what they're looking for. They're listening for Caitlin. And when Caitlin's not listed, they just dip.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did you check the stats on the Caitlin episode? That one.
You know what? I will. I will. Yeah, 100% watch time.
Maybe we need to switch the host. That might be
Probably
it.
need to switch the host, honestly.
Did you know that Brink has 10 players playing it right now?
Wow.
More than I expected.
That is impressive.
That's going to be so out of nowhere for everybody who isn't in this podcast.
So we're at the socialism part of our podcast, where we open it with a question. And this one's sent in by Falcon Furniture.
Good alliterative name.
Okay, so hold on. Before we get to the question, I actually want to talk about that name. What do you think Falcon's Furniture is?
Nest.
Branches.
Branches?
It's just like little couches for falcons.
I was about to say, it could just still be a couch. I mean, maybe it's just a wooden couch, like made of branches.
I feel like
it's like they don't get comfy couches?
Twigs and feathers and...
No, I feel like it's like perch-like seating for humans.
I think we're missing the obvious one. It's just Captain Falcon's furniture.
All right, so the real question is, if you could share a glass of whiskey with any historical figure, who would it be?
Benjamin Diaz, final answer.
I mean,
I
am a historical figure.
I think we all are, if you think about it.
The problem with this one is I can't really think of any historical figures where the fact that it's whiskey would matter.
Well, I mean, just someone who would be fun to drink with, though.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Any historical figure?
Any historical figure.
Wow, that's so...
Well, first off, you have to rule out everyone who doesn't speak English.
I mean, you don't have to.
I mean, yeah,
Google
could
Translate
you argue
exists.
that because of this question, like, you would be able to speak your language and understand theirs?
If that's the question, then that opens things up. Is that the question?
Whiskey is its own language.
I know, right? You pour that glass, they take that sip, and if they like it, then like that's the conversation right there.
The question doesn't really say anything about conversating at all. It just means you're just drinking.
So just sitting there on a stoop, just in
sitting
silence,
silently,
Yeah.
drinking whiskey.
with like Gandhi,
I'm just imagining
drinking
being
whiskey.
like telling somebody like I had whiskey with Gandhi once. Oh man, what'd you guys talk about? Nothing. We just sat
No,
there.
nothing.
But like
He doesn't speak
That-
English, guys.
I feel like that would be so much more profound than I asked him all these questions. No, you just
Yeah,
sat
sure.
there with
You would
Gandhi.
ruin it.
I feel like now you got to pick somebody who's like well known as being a mute. Have whiskey with.
A mime.
hold on. How many historical
you-
figures do you know, Caleb, that were well known for being mute? Name
Paul
one.
Keller?
Dang. Got you.
Name
there it
two.
is.
Nope, you asked for
Two.
one. I named one.
What if you pick Hitler and then you
Man,
poison the whiskey?
Okay,
Wow.
I was just about to say
Wow.
this is gonna sound controversial, but probably Hitler, just to like pick his brain to see like what.
Nah,
was
like you
thinking,
shoot
like-
him while you're drinking.
I mean,
Wait,
Here's the
if
thing,
you go
this
back
doesn't
in
say you
time to
travel
Is
in
this-
time. What if this
I don't think
brings
that's part
him
of the
back
question,
to
though.
life?
That
Oh,
is true.
Is he brought
That
to
would be
my
bad.
time? This
Yeah,
changes
what if
everything.
choosing this brings him back to life? You're a terrible person for picking that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
well,
Well, you
I think
did.
in today's day and age, if Hitler was brought back to life, it'd be easy to Epstein him.
What it?
Jeez.
Okay, so new topic.
Goodness gracious. Jesus.
You know,
Jesus.
What do you mean by that?
Jesus, yeah.
He's more of a wine guy, I believe. But
Yeah, he's one. He
I
turns
don't
your
think the
whiskey
question
down.
says
He's
that
like,
they
eh.
have to drink.
mm-hmm.
They could just hold the glass.
it's true.
I think
I'm not wasting whiskey on Jesus if he's not going to drink it.
trying to find somebody that it would matter that it's whiskey is interesting.
I feel like this is maybe a boring answer because it's someone who's still alive. But I always thought Ken Levine would be very fun.
I was
A
actually
very
going to
fun
say
drinking
that.
buddy.
You guys
He's
are
a
such
chill guy,
nerds.
and I feel like
He's
he's really
chill.
interesting. Ideas about things I care about. So I feel like it would actually be a really fun conversation.
Yeah, plus, like, come on, creative mind behind one of your favorite games?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Judas.
Absolutely. Yeah, Judas.
Yeah. He just talks about narrative Lego forever. Won't shut
Yeah.
up about it.
Yeah, I mean that might be the biggest knock against him.
What if does the historical figure have to be real?
Ooh.
Yeah, probably.
You have to ask Falcon Furniture that.
What
I mean,
is a
it's-
historical
Hey,
figure
Val-
that is not real?
It's a great question.
Zeus?
Zeus.
I don't know.
Zeus is real. I mean, there's lightning, and that's proof.
Yeah, that's
Gotcha
a fair
there.
point. All right, I pick Zeus. Actually, no, I wouldn't want to drink with Zeus. That'd be a terrible choice. No offense,
Dionysus.
sorry.
You got to choose
You're
Dionysus.
sitting there
yeah.
drinking with Zeus,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
a baby
no,
comes
that
out
would be
his
good.
head.
I worry that Dionysus, he wouldn't really appreciate it. You know, he just like chug it.
Mm.
He
That's
probably would
possible.
appreciate it. Man, I'm about to get struck by lightning. I mean, I don't know. The problem is, I can't just say the guy that invented whiskey because I don't know who that is.
Also, whoever invented whiskey, it was probably awful when
I
they
was about to
created
say
it.
the same
Yeah,
thing.
but
Yeah,
it would've
so
been
then you give him
horrible.
a glass of the whiskey
the
from like
That's
this
his
time.
time. You give him like a good glass of whiskey, and he's like blown away. He's like, I just invented this. How is this so good now?
Yeah, like that
When
guy.
you
say
that,
it works
No,
so
here's
hard
the thing,
for
I just
nothing.
show up with the
My
good whiskey and be
accomplishment
like,
is-
"Hey, man, that's cool. Hey, check this thing out I invented."
Yeah.
It's gonna be like
I
that.
got this thing I can buy in the store near my
That guy
house.
that's been making the milk punch, and then Alex, you're gonna give him milk punch, and he's gonna be like, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
this is so good."
The dude that invents whiskey, he just like gets it out and he tries it. And he's like, "Oh, it's great." And then you hand him one, and it's like, "This one's been aged for 40 years."
He just goes, "What?"
I
Yeah, right
just
there, he knows
invented
you
it
know
right now,
what
though.
He's just like a wizard.
And then
Burn at the stake.
Then you get burned at the stake. Yeah. Mm.
That's so tough.
That
There's
would be
so
that would be
many
interesting.
people.
Like J.R.
many
Tolkien.
people.
Tolkien would be interesting.
Hmm.
Tolkien. Sure.
Tolkien would be really, yeah, very unique. You kind of have to pick. Well,
You do kind of have to pick. That is the
Yeah, you do.
concept. Yeah, you got it.
crazy idea.
It's tough because I feel like you also need to watch because you say Tolkien. I was like, oh, like oh my god, Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P.
Like,
Lovecraft.
oh, him.
Don't
Like,
have
no,
to mind
him.
whiskey
He's
with him.
actually
Yeah.
he's a little
Or
too
Kind of a
mine.
huge
racist.
racist asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
Mhm.
great,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
I think Tolkien was chill. I almost said,
I don't think he has. Nothing more.
I almost said Robert Jordan, and then I went, no, I don't think I'd want to hang out with him. I like his books. Eh.
See, my answer of Hitler is basically like a Redditor answer, because like you go onto Reddit to look at the comments, not to see like brains or like anybody who has intelligence. You go on there to see how dumb humans can be, right? Therefore, like you actually having a conversation with him and like see where he's coming from, and you could just sit there across the table and be like, "You are a lunatic." Oh, we already know he's a lunatic, but like just experiencing that firsthand and having and like him just being so normal about it, it would just be so. That's just an interesting conversation, you know. Can you shoot him again? I mean,
You could do shots.
Hey.
poison the drink to where like as the conversation's going on, he just, you know.
Man.
Share some whiskey with Harambe.
I think
Oh man.
I think I would have a drink with Sir David Attenborough.
Mm.
That would be pretty good.
Solid pick.
Yeah.
What about
I was trying to think of like a preservationist. Like I think it'd be cool to talk to like Teddy Roosevelt or John Muir or somebody who just like really preserved nature.
I've heard Sir Ian McKellen was pretty cool.
I feel like also if someone reaches a certain level of fame, it's like I don't want to talk to you anymore. Too. We don't have any experiences in common whatsoever.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Ben, did you say Ian McKellen was pretty cool?
Didn't he? Or I'm thinking somebody else.
That man is alive.
No, here's the thing though. He was pretty cool. Now he's not.
Oh, now
Yeah, he's less
lame.
cool now.
He's lame
He's just
now.
lame.
Yeah, he used to be cool though.
Jeez.
Hold on a second. I think I was
Who
thinking of somebody else.
Who has it picked?
I was thinking Christopher Lee. Sorry.
Oh, yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
I don't know why I got them mixed up.
Ooh,
Okay.
Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright.
Edgar
Oh,
Wright.
yeah.
He just seems like a really fun guy and also makes excellent movies.
Yeah.
Very intriguing mind.
And
Yes.
he invented airplanes.
Yes. Yeah. You got
It's
it.
That's
crazy.
a great point. Busy guy. Wouldn't it be great if you picked someone and then they show up and you were like, "Oh, I thought you were someone else." Shoot, so you like invented airplanes? No, I'm a movie director. Oh, it sucks.
I'm imagining just you being like, I want to share a glass of whiskey with George Washington, and like George Washington Carver shows up. It's like,
Sure.
also cool. Not what I was going for,
Yeah.
but you know.
It's a sort of genie situation.
Yeah.
What's that Simon Pegg movie where he gets like superpowers from an alien race and he has to be very precise about what he wants to accomplish because he'll say
The guy who
things and he
waves
won't.
his hand. Is that the one where he has to wave his hand and wish things?
Yeah, and he'll be like, give me like the body of a, I don't know. He'll be like a body of a bodybuilder, or attractive body, and he's just like all of a sudden is super ripped. He's like, well, maybe not like that ripped. So he has to get like very specific.
would have never guessed this title. It's absolutely anything.
Oh, there you go. Absolutely anything.
I mean, it could be absolutely anything, but like, what's the?
Yeah,
you
what
could
is
look
it
up what the
actually?
actual title is.
Yeah, so it's absolutely anything.
Who are we waiting on here? Has Alex picked somebody? Did you say somebody, Alex?
I said various people.
Oh, you said very simple. Okay.
That was your answer. Just
Very
Again,
convincing.
you have to pick
Nice.
one.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
There are worse picks.
There
That's
are.
like the classic question is, would you rather $1 million or dinner with Jay-Z? And you're supposed to
Is
say
it?
dinner with
Yeah,
Jay-Z
the classic
because
question everyone asks.
that is a very common
Classic, yeah.
question, and like
The way I
Sigma
start every new
culture.
meeting with people off. Hey, listen. I'd rather have $1
And,
million
like-
to have dinner with Jay-Z.
and
Before we
like
start this
the
business meeting.
the hustle culture / Sigma culture, it's like, oh, you always pick dinner with Jay-Z because you can get so much more knowledge that'll be so much more useful than $1 million.
Did Jay-Z have
Okay.
a lot of knowledge
You can
that
just-
would be useful?
Well, he's good at business stuff.
But he's also like charming and talented and stuff. I don't know if dinner's gonna
Knowledge
really
doesn't help
translate
with
it.
that.
I mean,
well,
whatever.
everybody
I
who's-
respect it.
all those Sigmas who are telling you that are also the people who are selling their like life coaching techniques in a pyramid scheme.
Like getting $1 million is easy. You just gotta have the right
So
knowledge
easy.
and the grind set.
Yeah. Have the right grind set. I love it.
Right
Oh my
grind.
gosh.
Well, thank you, Falcon Furniture, for that excellent CCCP. That's one too few of C's. All right, let's move on to some more exciting news, and we're going to start off with just a banger. Alex, Notepad, getting spell check and autocorrect.
I don't like it. Sorry, Alex. Go
What the
ahead.
heck?
Just a
Notepad.
banger.
I'm upset.
After 41 years, Microsoft is introducing spell check and autocorrect to Notepad. First, we got dark mode in Notepad a couple years ago.
I
Blew my
allow
mind.
that.
Now, spell check,
I'm
autocorrect.
upset. I don't want it. Not in
That's
Notepad.
crazy.
Not in my Notepad. Not in my good
Amazing.
Christian Notepad.
It's just it's big news, dude. It's big news.
Yep,
Made headlines. We had to talk about it.
Yep, big news. All right, moving on. Also, Japan has achieved a new broadband speed record because, of course, they can't let anybody else achieve things crazy and just let it stand for a long time. Have like a nice, hey, we've accomplished something. No. They're just gonna one up us. How fast are we talking about?
402 terabits per second.
Woo!
All
Is
right.
the speed
If
that was
you were to
achieved.
say, if you were to have like everybody guess, there's actually almost no way I would guess that high.
That
I'd be
high?
like, I'd be like, I don't know, like 1,000 gigabits.
Yeah, right. Well, we already have like backhaul lines for the internet that do like terabits of data, but the important part about this breakthrough is that they didn't really they used like existing stuff. Like there's a existing 50-kilometer stretch of optical fiber that they just put their stuff on to shoot light down and made it go that fast. So like that means it could be applicable in the real world at some point where we could actually use this technology to get speeds that are that fast. They basically just accessed more of like the available wavelength of light.
Man,
And-
we
Expanded it from like 25 terahertz to like 37 terahertz of bandwidth. And
Just to
then-
clarify, you said they accessed more of the available bandwidth of light.
light.
wavelength.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
It's like the way you get faster speeds over fiber is sending parallel data streams over different wavelengths, right? Because you can read different wavelengths of light on the other side individually.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have equipment that could theoretically go higher up into the frequency and lower into the frequency, you have more channels to send information down. So
But we're only limited by our hardware. Fiber is like
eventually
has
there's a
unlimited
physical limit.
capacity. You think there's a physical limit to fiber? Optical fiber?
Someday we'll get micro SD cards small enough.
And
that-
eventually you're using the full
Full spectrum.
spectrum of light at some point.
I just think we need to get micro SD cards small enough that pigeon data transfer speeds are back up to the top of the ladder.
Which I don't even know if you could really do that, because at some point doesn't it just like start passing through stuff? Like X-rays
Pigeons,
and
I
stuff
don't
like
think
that.
can pass through stuff. No.
Gamma rays. You do.
Microwaves. You just accidentally cook the wires.
Yeah, I mean, so you have to have a
gotta
cable
test.
that can contain that stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
Also, I
But-
think you have a quick note for us in shutdown news, because we always have to start our podcast. We started off strong, and then we get into the news section, and you have like a couple things to tell us, and it's just a little speed bump, and then we'll pick back up here in a second. But tell us about closures.
Yeah. There was one significant closer I saw this fortnight. Piranha Bytes, which is a studio that makes like Gothic and Risen,
Oh,
like those.
the pirate
kind
game,
of-
right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
they
That's
make
too
like
bad.
RPGs like that are not necessarily like maybe AAA, like maybe AA. I don't know, but they've been around since 1997. and they were purchased by Embracer in 2019, and now they're getting closed by Embracer.
Kiss of death.
Man, everybody thought it was a good plan back then. They're like, oh, yes, big company wants to buy us. Let's do it.
So they were, I guess, shopping around for somebody else to purchase them or funding of some kind. They were going to do a new Dark Fantasy title in Unreal 5, and that is just not going to happen now. Although the founding people are actually a married couple, and they have already started a new studio called Pithead Studio.
Oh,
Good for them.
kind of a
okay.
happy ending, a little bit at least. Silver
Little bit.
lining.
A little bit. Maybe
They
they
are
can
going
get
to
some
be
of those.
focusing on much smaller scale stuff, like just indie stuff.
Sure.
But
I'm on board for more indie games, though. Always on board
Yeah.
for more indie games.
It's really not enough.
Yeah.
also, when I was looking for this, I found out that I don't know when this got started, but there is a Wikipedia page for 2023-2024 video game industry layoffs, and it
Oh
has a whole history of how the
No.
industry has tanked over the last 2 years.
Now I need a podcast of you just reading everything off of that page. We're not
I
on
don't.
it. It's just a camera of you.
Yeah,
And then they're like to the side, it's just your screen as you're scrolling through Wikipedia and you're just reading them off and then commenting and going, huh, after everyone. Yep, see? It works.
He already knows his lines.
Every once in a while, you
Chad-
throw in a, ooh.
it's not even just a list. It's like information about like factors related to it and like everything that was happening, like post-pandemic slowdown, consumer shifts, like all this kind of stuff. And I guess it's significant enough now that this warrants its own page in the history books.
Clearly. Chad, there's
So.
some controversy going on in streaming world. Again, we talked about one 2 weeks ago. Here's another one. What's happening? Because I don't know anything.
This is a little ridiculous. I think the internet is a very interesting place to observe because just a week or two ago, we were celebrating Huck Tua spit on that thing. And then we have rotated towards Sketch the streamer, who you may know from collaborating with Jinxie. What's up, brother?
Yeah.
Also announcing what he announced at the NFL draft, right? Like that was the thing.
One player.
Yeah, okay. So like he's been well known on, multiple platforms and but it came out that 2 years ago he did gay OnlyFans content. And for some reason the internet exploded and they were talking about how his career is over and how like he, everybody feels bad that this came out because like, he can't stream anymore, blah blah. So I saw a bunch of those posts and then quickly streamers and friends of his and stuff started coming to his defense and being like, bro, like he did something 2 years ago, like whatever, like yeah, you would celebrate a female doing this, like what? I don't understand, like what, and he actually got on stream and quote unquote apologized for doing the content.
What?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's just like, dude, all right, he made gay content. Like, you don't
He's
have to
alive.
look it up. You don't have to, like, it's not like
You
little
imagine.
kids. Like,
Can you
Yes.
imagine a Twitch streamer being on OnlyFans?
Right?
Is
God.
uncalled for.
right.
Mhm.
So,
Disgusting.
he actually, unfortunately, made kind of moves and comments towards how, when this all came out, that he was going to take his own life that night. But FaZe Banks texted him immediately and was like, "Hey, come back!" Like, and he was like, "I didn't want to get you guys roped into this." He's like, "What are you talking about? You're our boy." And so he talked to them that night, and honestly, it probably saved his life because he had talked about how like if this ever came out, like it was probably going to be the end for him, and not end of his streaming career, but like he because today's day and age, being like a man and gay is worse than being like a lesbian and stuff like that. So. At least by internet standards, that's not me saying that. So it's just weird. I don't understand. Like, it makes me want to watch Sketch's content even more now. Like, I don't, that people are trying to cancel him over this. Like, I don't get it. We just had Dr. Disrespect where he was actually like
Sexting a minor.
doing
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
bad things.
Disrespectful.
And then we
A real
have
crime.
two consensual adults making content.
Dude,
I don't see the problem.
everybody's got to work, okay?
I was like, dude,
You gotta make
he
ends
was
meet,
getting his
all right?
bag, dude. Like, go ahead, get that bag. Like, whatever.
That's so, man. Internet's a brutal place, a terrible place. We should all stop using the internet. Honestly, it might solve a lot of problems globally.
Honestly, shut it down.
Shut her down.
Yep.
Tell
Yeah,
Japan
that new
we
record,
don't need
it.
those high speed. Yeah,
Cut the cable.
cut it.
Where would I get my tentacle hentai?
Print it out.
Yeah, we go
buy
back to
physical
magazines
copies.
under the bed. Why are these all sticky?
Oh man. Ben, I know one thing you're excited about is expanding your game repository, not necessarily via your Steam library, but just in general playing more games, which means you may be sad about the Game Pass pricing changes.
Hmm.
I assume that means
Yeah.
you're not going to play more games, right?
Oh, of course not. But yeah, so Game Pass is actually, I was trying to double check this because I can't remember. Does anybody know what Game Pass costs right now?
$1.
Is it $12 a month?
$1.
I think it's.
I
I think
think I'm paying 10.
yeah, I
Because I
think,
never canceled it.
Depends on what Game Pass you have.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That
Game Pass
right, there's a whole
PC
bunch.
is $10.
Okay.
Game Pass Ultimate's like 13, I think, right?
Weird. It says 12 on their website right now.
Or 12, I
For
mean.
PC. Ultimate's 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think
Eleven
20 is,
99
the
a
new, 20 is the new price. 12 is the new price.
You can get it for $1 and then cancel it though.
You
I've heard
Oh,
repeatedly.
that's what they're changing. Okay, the Game Pass what did Game Pass Ultimate used to be then? Because they just changed
I think it was
to
12. 15?
12, 15.
Okay,
15
So
for the
12
first-
or 15.
Yeah,
it's
fair enough.
somewhere in there. It's
So
a
it-
lower
so-
price than 20.
They have made a change to Game Pass
It
Ultimate.
was
or they're coming,
17.
unclear, or they're coming out with this change soon. I'm not exactly sure. September
now.
is when this rolls out. But basically, they
It's never.
are going to be coming out with a standard edition of Game Pass and the Ultimate edition about Game Pass. The difference is the standard edition is $15 a month, and the Ultimate will be $20 a month. But the big difference you see there, the standard edition does not get day one releases anymore. You have to pay for the $20 a month version if you want to get access to day one games.
I mean, EA Play was doing, or I think probably still is doing the same thing, where they have EA Play Plus or whatever it is, and if you do that, you get day one access to everything.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to see if they say how long you have to wait for the new games, or is it just day two? Is when
They
you get
probably have. I'm sure
Day
it's not
two.
day two.
it? Yeah, I was
Oh,
thinking
certainly
day
not.
two. Then that seems not worth it.
I bet there is not a fixed date. It's because if something comes out and it's really
It's like
popular, I
sometime.
bet it doesn't come for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they already had Core and Ultimate. Core's going away, replaced by Standard. Core
And Ultimate's
was
getting more
like,
expensive.
this matters for people that own the console because both Core and Ultimate include access to online play because you have to pay for online on consoles.
Yep.
So Core included a select subset of games that you got for free along with online access, and then Ultimate was like the full Game Pass experience. So it's sort of still the case, except for prices have gone up.
Can you still pay for just online access without getting a Game Pass? I don't play consoles very often anymore.
I don't know if you can. I mean, I feel like I still
think it's
see
all-
Xbox Live cards every
No
once in a while.
way.
Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yes.
those old like gift cards you can find every once in a while, just kind of hanging on one of the gift card stands. I feel like I still see Xbox Live cards on occasion.
Can't believe that's still the model, dude.
So I think Core is the lowest. Actually, Core still exists. Console's going away.
It looks like
Man,
Xbox Live
That's a
is
good
still
segment.
a thing.
Well researched.
I know, right?
Yeah, this story is a disaster.
Core still exists, and that is the one that gets you online play. That is the cheapest one. It's $10 a month.
So, entertainingly, there's also Xbox Live Gold, which is not Game Pass, and is also just $10 a month. It's the same price as Core. The only difference
I think
is
they're phasing that out, right?
They're probably phasing it out, I have to assume. Xbox Live Gold is you get 2 games a month with games with gold.
No, they
And
did. They
Core
did phase that
is
out.
catalog of over 25 high-quality games.
I think
Oh,
it
yeah.
probably
They-
had to be grandfathered into gold
You're right, it
because
moved
as of
you to
September
Core.
of last year, it's Core.
Yeah, you're right. They changed it to Core. I definitely researched this before I started talking about it.
The important thing, because I don't care about any of that, the important thing is PC Game Pass is going from $10 to $12, and you still get day one releases.
Okay.
Man.
Whatever.
Did it used to come with the EA Play membership?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Not EA Play Plus though, right?
No, you get the regular one.
Yeah.
Neither of them have Plus.
These subscription services are out of control. It used to just be, man, I want to play that. Oh, it's on Game Pass? I'll get Game Pass. Cool.
Yep.
Check that off my list.
This is
I
what
got
Alex
it.
predicted.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, that's still how it is for us.
I mean, we just spent like 10 minutes talking about 10 different versions of Game Pass, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's for console people.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the only streaming service that has gone up in price. Spotify just had a big price jump at the beginning of June, I think, where we went, like, family plan for us went from $17 to $20 a month. I know $3 is like whatever, but it's not the
month?
first. Yeah, and it's not the first time they've had a jump. Like, this has been pretty consistent on all platforms, like whether it's content streaming, like if you're doing audio or video or whatever. Like, I feel like people are just bumping
$2
up
bump
just
every couple of years.
every so often, and then everyone, like, you look back in your bank statement, you're like, oh man, I'm not paying $27 for Netflix.
Yeah. Started my Netflix account at $7 a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Paying
You're
over
making me
20
try
now.
to figure out how
Ain't
much
no
I
grandfather
pay
plan for that.
music streaming.
And they tried to not do password sharing, like bulk rat, dude. VPN.
All right, last but not least in news, I don't even know what this is. It better not be just a ruse.
Kind of.
Yeah, a little bit.
Alex,
What?
why would you write this?
Because it's funny. Because it's a ruse.
Bloodborne on PC. Is this the Alex?
That's a trick.
The trick.
Wait, is this the
This-
Elden Ring
Which
thing?
which version of this are we talking about?
Both versions. I put it together.
Oh, okay.
So the main thing is that there's a PS4 emulator that can now get to the character screen for Bloodborne on PC.
Oh, the character
Everybody-
screen.
Everybody celebrate. Yeah.
Basically playing.
Yay!
That's the most significant advance we've had towards Bloodborne on PC. Is you can load up the game and stare at the start screen and stuff. Also,
Was Bloodborne just not popular? Is that why they don't do a PC version? Like, what's happening here?
It's a Sony problem.
Yeah.
Sony owns the right to Bloodborne, and they're always like, "Oh, Hidetaka Miyazaki, do you want to make one?" He's like, "Stop talking to me about it. It's not my call, guys."
Yeah.
They also just updated today and said that they fixed the colors so it's not just red anymore.
We
So-
are
Get
to the
living
character
in
screen, but it was
luxury.
just red. Huh? Interesting.
We're seeing
This is
we're
the
seeing
this
the
is the
future right
emulator?
here. Yeah,
It's
the
the blood
emulator.
color.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Can
god.
they put it back? I like it already.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is they just released a mod for Elden Ring called Graceborn that is like a full conversion to try to stylize Elden Ring like Bloodborne, introduce a bunch of Bloodborne bosses and weapons and armor and stuff like that, and also even like gameplay additions. So like gun parrying and quick steps and the Bloodborne healing style and stuff like that's all in there. So-
Good luck.
That is just cool. That I just like big mods like that completely change games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like Bloodborne on PC, so you can go play it inside Elden Ring now. There you go.
Basically,
Bloodborne on PC.
I'll just
Might
wait
as well
till it
do it.
actually comes to PC.
whatever comes to PC.
If
Aaron,
it
have
ever
you
does.
played Bloodborne?
I haven't. Remember, I spent like 40 minutes
Oh, I
trying
know.
to.
That's why I asked.
Hmm.
Have you ever continued or have you stopped?
No, I stopped.
For shame.
There's all sorts of rumors about Bloodborne. Like, there's a Sony thing, but then there's also like people have said that the code base is like spaghetti code, so it'd be super hard to port.
What?
And,
Whatever.
like, the amount of time
Remake
it would take.
Make a sequel. I don't
I was gonna say
care.
Bloodborne 2. Like, let's go.
Yeah. Do something, guys.
Or
They
don't even
could do,
call
like,
it
a
Bloodborne 2
complete-
because it's going to be released on PC. Bloodborne Reimagined or Bloodborne, I don't know, something.
A complete remake could be a thing, I suppose. I bet that Demon Souls remake doesn't really have much in common with the original. in terms of code.
That's
Yeah.
the name.
It does have the same name. Yeah, no, seriously though, give it to Blue Point. They'll knock it out of the park, I'm sure. They're the guys who did the Demon Souls remake.
Yeah.
If you don't know.
Although that one is PlayStation only, so
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
we run into the same issue.
Quick note
So?
in tabletop.
What the heck is this?
A few of us are fans of this really fun game. Ben, you know what? Honestly, take it. You talk about it.
Oh, I
Feel
can
free.
talk about it. All right, so some of us played this game that Aaron picked up a while back called Moonrakers, which we played at his place and is probably one of my favorite board games I've ever played. And the people who made them are kickstarting a new game called Brink, and it looks really, really good. And
Is it
talk about
based
it.
on the Disney Channel original movie of the same name?
no, it's based on a 2001 video game that 10 people are playing.
Did we
Okay.
not
Nice.
just talk about Brink on Steam right
We
before the
did.
podcast?
Uh-huh.
That
is
is
why.
why it got brought up, because
Yeah.
we discussed the board game slightly before the podcast.
Yep.
Got a
Man.
little sneak peek.
Comes full circle.
Are people
Um,
watching us talk about Brink? Yeah, they went up to 12 players now.
Yes,
yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
playing Brink now.
You caught me. I'm actually playing Brink.
Back.
So the original game is like a co-opetitive game where you go out on missions and you take people with you, with kind of this aspect of they may or may not sabotage your campaign.
You're talking about
Um,
Moonrakers, right?
Moonrakers, yeah, and how it's kind of it's similar to like The Thing, or what's that other game that's like the zombie realm game, Alex, that you own? Oh shoot, it's gonna come to me.
All Shoot's a really weird name for a game, but all right.
The
see
Walking
it.
Dead.
Only Alex, what's this?
I think so. Well, Caleb probably has
What?
a copy in his stack of like 600 board
Yeah, he
games.
kickstarted
Like
it.
Project
What are we
Winter or
talking about?
something?
Ooh, yeah, Dead.
That's a video game.
No. There is an expansion for it though. Hold on. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. It'll come to me in a second.
Oh, the Crossroads game. I know what that
Thank
is.
you. What's it called?
That's a game. That is it just called Project Winter? No.
No.
It's Dead Winter or something.
Is it
Dead
Dead Winter?
Dead of Winter.
Dead of Winter.
Cold Winter?
Cold zombie board game. This is good. This is good stuff, guys. This is a really
Dead
good cast. Episode
of
200.
Winter.
A Crossroads game.
Chili
That is it.
season zombie game.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
was,
so
glad we
I was
got
on the
there.
right
So
track
it's
with
like
Winter.
that. That's
Dead
not
of
the game
Winter.
we're talking about.
Yeah,
not
it's
relevant
like
at
that
all.
What were we talking
game.
about? I
It's
forgot.
like The Thing. That's what.
All right, so
that's
this
what
is our
the Moonrakers game
practice
is like.
run, guys. We're gonna do the podcast for real after this.
Yeah, we didn't actually start the podcast yet. did we?
Yeah, not at all. No.
It's like it would be
nothing.
embarrassing if I did that badly on VGig in a real
Good
podcast.
thing I have a whole nother one that has Kingdoms of Amalur re-reckoning in it.
Smart.
Mm.
Anyway, so that's what the first game is like. It's very much like a mission-based, kind of like a hidden traitor, a little bit, like where you're trying to sabotage friends if you or like your compatriots if you want, but also you're playing with them. It's cooperative also. This game seems to be not like that at all, correct? The one that's on Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Brink.
it looks more. So there's a couple different mechanics going on. So I'll try to sum it up. But basically, the core gameplay is it's a resource gathering based game. So you're playing on a board that's made of a bunch of different colored hexes, and you have 3 different ships that in a round you can place out on the hexes in order to gather resources based on the color of the hex. One of your ships can gather from 1 hex, one can gather from 2 hexes, and one can gather from 3 hexes baseline. The gameplay is you gather the resources from these hexes, and then you can trade them with each other for starters, which includes also some of the resources you gather are only useful for trading. Like they're just, you can't use them unless you trade them away, which incentivizes people to do trading. You can use the resources to upgrade your ships to do things like have a bigger cargo hold so they get more resources, or you can like give them more reach to different tiles, things like that, which is interesting because they actually provide physical upgrade pieces that connect to your little physical ships, which is really cool to me. And the main thing is then, I think I'm understanding this correctly, at the end of a round, basically you all vote on what color of tile grants points that round based on who's on what tile, and you can spend resources to basically like have your vote way more towards that. So one of those sort of things. So like if let's say you're the only one on red tiles, but you have a ton of resources, you could maybe put all your resources into the red. Versus if a bunch of people are on blue, you think everybody's going to vote for blue. Maybe you only put some of your resources on blue, and you're like, I'm going to save some more for later. So it becomes a little bit more, you got to think about it that way. There's other stuff that goes on, like the tiles apparently have different actions depending on what you're on. There's like action cards you can play that do one-time effects. They've got like ambassadors, which are cards you can play that have full game buffs. There's a lot going on there, but it looks very interesting. And it seems to do a good job of, similarly to their previous game, of incentivizing cooperation in a very in an interesting, unusual way. The trading mechanics seem different from anything I've run into before.
I really like Moonrakers, so
plus I like the concept of it's hex based. So if you look at the board, it almost kind of looks like a Settlers of Catan type situation. But apparently you start off with just a small area, and on your turn you can choose to also explore new tiles around the edge of the map instead of just looking in the base ones that are already there.
Well, I'm going to be kickstarting that.
Yeah, I'm probably going to kickstart it.
Yeah. Kickstarter, take all my money, please.
Which means between the two of us, Aaron, nobody else on this podcast has to buy a copy of this.
Correct. Correct. Caleb will, anyways, just because.
Probably.
Caleb already kickstarted it.
Yeah, 6 years ago. One quick note in film, I just wanted to point this out. Inside Out 2 has been out since the middle of June, and they have recently surpassed The Incredibles 2 in terms of total box office, which makes it the 4th highest grossing animated film of all time.
Wow.
At $1.25 billion.
Wow.
Is there a reason?
Apparently a very popular just franchise. Like the first one was really popular. People were really excited about this one, and it's gotten really good reviews, so people are just going back to watch it more.
What are the other highest grossing, if you have that list?
Yeah, the top 3 from 3 to 1 is Frozen at 1.29 billion.
Okay.
The Super Mario Brothers movie at 1.36, and then
Really?
Frozen 2 at 1.45.
Wow. Man. Should have guessed Frozen would be on there twice.
Yeah.
Silly me.
Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. A movie which, I don't know, it seems like it came out of nowhere, but it obviously raking in cash. I mean, people love this movie. They're going back to it. It's only been out for a month, and they've already surpassed those. So, pretty impressive.
That's crazy.
I think that means we all need to go
Pixar's
watch
needed
it.
a win.
I don't know if that's what that means.
What? Come on. Why do you think
last
Pixar's
few
need to win?
movies have not done well?
Alex,
What?
I feel like you're naysaying their last movies.
No, they've been like struggling for a bit to get. They're supposed to be like $1 billion movies like every time.
Well, I mean, Lightyear did $226 million, but that was in 2022. So, Elemental, Luca, Soul, Turning Red, Onward. Ooh, Onward, good movie. Only did 142 million though. So yeah, this is okay. All right,
They're back, baby.
they're back. I guess somehow they've made it.
Because they
They've
just do
arrived.
sequels.
Yeah.
I mean,
true.
you're
Toy
not
Story
wrong.
5.
Yeah.
People would lose their freaking minds.
I mean, I'm sure they'll bust it out at some point.
Yeah.
Especially,
What? Sorry.
the main voice actors are still around. I don't know that they will be for a whole lot longer. They're getting up there, is all I'm saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. You know what it's time for?
WHYBPL.
You got it. I'm so proud of you guys. Every time, you know every time what it's going to be.
We've done this 200 times. We're in the zone.
We have
We got it locked in.
yeah, you can tell we're in the zone. You can tell we got this
Yeah, we're
on
on
lock.
it today, baby.
Oh man. Okay, let's start out with some group games. A lot of us have been playing the Elden Ring DLC Shadow of the Erd Tree. DLC? Expansion? What do they call it actually?
DLC.
Yeah.
A special edition.
Special edition. Got it.
Yeah, it's a
I think
DLC.
expansion is still valid.
I mean, I feel like it's a potato situation. It is downloadable content. It's content that you download, but it is also an expansion.
Because you have to have the base game to be able to play it.
Right,
Yeah.
yes. It's not standalone.
Yeah. Anyway, we've all been playing this game, as has most of the internet.
Mhm.
Tell us your thoughts. What do you guys think? Love it? Hate it? Indifferent?
It's way too hard.
It's great.
Okay, they made it easier.
They did make it easier. I've been having a good time with it.
I think you guys are just one of the 4 people
We're
with
just
Donkey.
gamers. Yeah, that's probably it. No, I mean, Caleb, you beat it, yes? No, did you beat it?
I am on the final boss.
You're on the final boss.
Actively.
Okay. Okay. I was
Cool.
like, yeah, you were fighting the final boss. I was like, oh, but I left without hearing you beat him or her, whoever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Now in like difficulty ranking compared to like Melania. Higher?
Well, I haven't spent that long on the final boss yet, so we'll
Okay,
we'll
so
have to
that's
see.
Yeah, that's.
So
I
far
feel like
it's
that's the
that
that's
high.
the watermark.
Yeah,
The
I
for
duration
sure.
you spent on Melania. Yeah.
I used a mimic tier, and I mean Melania was pretty easy. I don't know what people are
Yeah.
saying.
First try mimic tier.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the easiest boss in the game actually. The mimic tier.
I have been a tad frustrated in that some of the character plot lines require you to summon them for various fights,
Mhm.
Mm,
which I don't know. I don't like using summons, so it doesn't.
yeah.
Do you
It kind of annoys me, but I kind of
Do you
want to see
usually
where
look
the
up like
plot
a
lines
quest
go.
line or whatever before you start playing a Souls game?
No,
Okay.
I'll get quite a ways into it before I start looking some stuff up.
Yeah, because it's so easy to parse. I don't know why you need to look it up.
Well, that's the thing is like I have looked at quest lines in Elden Ring after playing like 70 hours in, and I've been like, well, I screwed up all of this, so I
Yeah.
like, what was the point? I have to do like a new game plus if I really want to do that. I mean, who was that guy in the cave that was like, no, show me mercy, like Patches? I think
Patches.
killed him immediately and was like, oh, I need him for an item I wanted. Cool.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
never found the monkey for like the
Oh,
entire
yeah,
game.
Bach.
Yeah.
I had to go back. I was literally like in the last area, and I'm like, I think I was actually talking to you, Caleb, and you were like, oh yeah, did you find Bach? And I was like, I have no idea who you're talking about. He's like 5 minutes outside of where you spawn. I was like, I don't know. I didn't walk by that bush.
Wow. Elden Ring DLC, the comments. So, I honestly just don't understand the complaints of the difficulty. Even like the day before, I played the day before the patch went live, and I was like one-shotting everything. And I was like, okay, I got to a boss, and I had like some difficulty. That should be normal. You should probably go
Right.
explore and level up, then get back to that
Mhm.
boss. Like, I don't know if people expected to bring their leveled up character into DLC and wipe everything like they've been doing
really not
with like
sure.
the rest of the bosses that they were cleaning up. But like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that boss to have been a pushover because then like the DLC wasn't worth it.
Mhm. Yeah, right. I also I would have been really sad if I went into the DLC and it was you just steamrolled everything, right? I want that experience of having to get more powerful and actually have to struggle a little
Yeah.
bit against it.
Talk to
I
Caleb
mean-
a little bit about this. There's a couple bosses that I found where like I've literally 3 hit them, and I've been like,
yeah.
what? Like, why is this not a challenge? Like, what the heck?
Like
Yeah.
greater enemies or whatever, or not even great. I guess, yeah, that's what they call them, greater enemies. They're not really like bosses, but you just find them in the overworld and you fight them and you can 3-shot them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, this was behind the golden doors, so they're supposed to be bosses or whatever. I don't really think I experienced anything like this with base content where you went through a golden door and they were a pushover. So
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a few where when you're walking up to the door, everybody's like, didn't expect weak enemy. And you walk
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
and then you just destroy the boss. No
Mhm.
problem.
Mhm.
Were you jump attacking though?
or was I?
Yeah.
Of course.
Jump heavy, bro.
There you go.
That's too strong.
too strong.
See, that's why.
Yep. I also was using Lion's Roar with the greatly increased damage of whatever the magic is called, ashes or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I went back and found the giant hammer, so now I have that in my arsenal. You know,
Which giant hammer?
Crusher, I think it's called.
Oh,
Giant
yeah.
Crusher.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
Giant
good.
It's a good weapon.
which almost want to go, through New Game Plus just to get a second one of those, and then get the twin medallion, so that like when
Mhm,
you
mhm.
do a jumping attack with the twin. Oh man,
There you go. Now you're cooking. I have been enjoying. I don't know if you guys have messed around with that much of the new weapon types, but I just got my first like karate weapons, and they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun to use.
I only recently started trying out the karate stuff. I haven't really done a build with it. Getting
Sure.
things like talismans that actually help.
Mhm.
But I played around with it a little bit. It wasn't really my jam. I
They
don't know. I
feel-
like weapon arts a lot more, and they are not focused on the weapon arts, really.
I don't know. The weapon art that comes with them is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You just like charge one really big punch.
Yeah.
I run into the problem of those games where I just I find a weapon I'm comfortable with and I never swap. Like base game, I ran through with a giant axe for the majority of the game. Never swapped, never used anything else. Finally got the sword after beating Rykard, and I was like, oh, I can slam this on the ground and create like a line of lava that kills everything. All right, sure, let me upgrade this. And that was it. That's all I played with.
I mean, you don't have to try a bunch of stuff, but if you want to,
Yeah.
have fun in life, you could try different weapons,
So I don't
Maybe
know. I have a
consider
lot of
living
fun
alone.
jumping and just
Mhm.
big heavy axe.
I'm always worried about how many upgrade materials they're going to give you.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to screw myself trying to upgrade too many different things to try out, and then it's just like, oh, I don't have enough materials to upgrade the thing I actually want to use.
I definitely feel that. That's like the one. Actually, even in the DLC, I think it's weird. You get weapons, but they're still at level 1. I'm like, why
Yeah.
not give me these halfway leveled up, guys? Like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why is this level 1? You know I'm like level 200 here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
luckily
give
they
me
do.
a partially leveled one.
They do luckily drop a lot of smithing stones throughout the
Yeah.
game. So
I mean,
The
what-
DLC also dropped
I
a
thi-
lot
Yeah.
of upper tier
My
ones.
problem with the stones though is that there's like a limited number of like the ancient stuff,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and so like my great sword that I have been using for forever before I got the crusher is plus 25, but now the crusher is plus 24 because I didn't have the ancient smithing stone to use on it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
What
think
I've
that
been-
kind of forces you into the new game plus stuff to try to farm that out. I don't
Yeah.
know.
The
Well, I
DLC
mean-
drops quite a few of those
the-
They're
ancient
not
dragon
the correct
ones.
Yeah.
ones.
Oh.
There's a different ancient one that for the plus 25.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It drops a lot of the somber ones, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I swear, I'm always tripping somber stones. I have so many somber ones, and the base ones I never have enough.
Well, yeah, to get up to the plus 25 stuff, I mean, you can also go over to the two-headed lady and buy it from her in the round table area.
Yeah.
You
So,
can
I fe- Go
you
ahead.
can get an item where she'll sell everything except the ultimate one. You can
Yeah.
get her to sell all the
Yeah,
upgrade
yeah.
material except for the highest.
So you get everything almost to plus 24, but then you can't get to that plus 25
Mhm.
unless you do the new game plus and you're actually trying to actively go for it,
yeah.
which is fine, I guess. I mean, it does enough damage that
Right.
plus 24 should be fine.
Mhm.
There's
So
not a
if you did
huge
want to
difference.
actually try different builds, my biggest issue with trying different builds is collecting the tiers and then respecking. Why that
Oh.
should just be easier. You should just be able to
Yeah.
hit a button, have different loadouts or something, to where you can just constantly try a dex build or a magic build or
Mhm. Yeah.
For
No, I
a game that has
agree.
such a wide variety of playstyles you could go down. The whole thing is we have hundreds of weapons and so many different ways you could play your character. And then they kind of make it difficult to
Mhm.
experience all of that.
Yeah.
Kitty.
It is. I don't know. I'm playing entirely an int build, and I just infuse everything with magic, so my weapons scale with int. I do obviously run into some issues, like the boss type weapons you can't infuse, so there's a lot I just can't use. But I do agree that it would be nice if you could respec a little more readily. Just oh, I found this cool karate moveset. Let me try going full strength again and see how that feels.
Yeah.
I almost think in Elden Ring it should be okay, I've beat the game. Now that I've beat the game, I can go into the DLC and I can go to this grace and I could just click my stick to the left a bunch of times to get rid of the points I have in strength or something, and or hit Y and it resets the strength, and then you can throw that into Dex, and you just
Yeah.
instead of going back to the library using a tier, having to figure out how to get tiers, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, that's also how they get people with hundreds of hours in the game, because
I mean, yeah.
Sure.
of the replayability of wanting to try a different
sorry,
build.
I'm
You
asking
have to
for-
start all the way over.
I'm asking for accessibility, and that's not something that should be in Souls games. I'm sorry.
How dare you, Chad?
This was only. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Mine's kind of tangentially related, if you are still Elden Ring. I don't know if you
I was
guys.
gonna ask Ben how his Elden Ring playthrough is going.
Mhm.
Haven't started it yet. I'm
Ben!
sorry. I was on
Benjamin.
vacation and I was told that it's not good on Steam Deck, so I didn't play
Yeah.
it.
Unbelievable.
I promise I will have some played by next podcast.
I tried beating a boss on Steam Deck in Elden Ring, and I tried it probably 10 to 20 times. Got home, got onto my PC, played it on PC, and beat it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, on the topic of the accessibility thing, did you guys hear about that mode they're adding to Dragon Age Veilguard, the new one? There's a mode that people are getting pissy about where you can set it so like it's like a no death mode, so your character won't die,
Oh.
and people are like
it's just like a
freaking
story
out.
mode.
Yeah, essentially like a story mode, but like uber story where you literally can't die, and people are like,
Yeah.
oh,
That was my
Don't
issue
play
with
that
Doom,
mode.
honestly.
I don't understand the problem.
yeah. People are
Don't play that mode.
Yeah.
It's genuinely bad, especially like a Dragon
I'm sure
Age
somebody will
game.
make a mod to make the mode disappear from your menu. And
Yeah,
then it's
right.
not there.
Like a game, it's a BioWare game. The story usually is the draw. There are a lot of BioWare games I played where I suffer through the gameplay to get more of the story. Like, it's people are weird.
There was
there are games that are not story based. Like one of the Bayonettas at least has a mode where it's just like spam the same button over and over and
Oh,
it does
yeah,
cool
yeah.
combos.
Mm-hmm.
And you can basically just play the whole game pressing one button.
Yeah, whatever.
people are weird. There was controversy behind somebody saying that there needs to be a pause button in Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, that's
And I mean, there's more to it. I'm not going to get into details, but something that she said was like, what if there was like at the end of Elden Ring, like once you beat that boss, a card comes up saying, I didn't use any summons. I didn't do that. Or like it says, I use summons. And so like you can still like you can play through and you can post, hey, I beat the game, and then your card, and it'll tell like all the settings that you have so that your accomplishment can still be celebrated your way, so that other people can have their way of playing.
sure. I always like
That's not a bad idea.
I feel like it's a good use for achievements. I'm surprised Elden Ring
Yeah.
doesn't have
Yeah.
more achievements. Like, I mean, I guess they probably don't want to discourage people from summoning,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
it feels like
Yeah.
a good use of achievements. Of like, oh, here's a way that people like to play, and they're proud of playing it that way. It's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
a little.
Because that's the
award
thing
that
is that
doesn't mean
like
anything.
I don't think any one of us here really uses summons, but like if any of
Never.
us did use summons, like you're not gonna just be like, oh, you suck at the game. Like it's just a way to play the game. It's in it. It's not like you modded the game to add summons and then you used it. Like it's there. Like you can use it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even Miyazaki, the creator of the game, is like, yeah, I made it through, but I use everything that's in it. Like, I'm not that good at it. I use summons, anything I can to get an edge. And it's like, yeah, that's why they're in there, guys.
Yeah.
For sure. A couple of you guys played Monster Hunter Rise too.
No, it's
The
actually
second
just
one?
the first
Second
one.
The second one. The
We
second
just
one.
played the first one.
I'm gonna start saying as well after everything I
That's
say.
probably smart.
So I can avoid this.
Well,
Yeah,
this
do
is a
that
great
too.
bit though.
It is funny. I mean, I can talk about this one. I really like this game. I kind of didn't expect to that much. We all started playing it. It's got a multiplayer mode. I don't think any of us have played Monster Hunter before. Oh no,
played
some of
a
you
little
played
of World.
A little bit of World.
That's
not
right.
A ton.
Like Dauntless.
Dauntless. I feel like you're making fun of something.
It's basically Monster Hunter, more anime like.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. But it's really fun. There's a lot of really cool weapons. I feel like it has a really satisfying gameplay loop. That's kind of what ended up sucking me in. Like you get in and you get like a cool weapon, and then you go out and you go into like this little mini open world, and you hunt down a monster, and you beat it up in like a big cool like anime fight, and then you harvest stuff from the monster. You take it back to town, and you can go use that to upgrade your gear, or to create new gear, or make new weapons with different attributes, or armor with different traits. And so you go through all that, and it makes you better at hunting. So then you go back out to hunt, and you try out all your new stuff, and you get new stuff, and you can use it to craft. And it's just like, yeah, I just really enjoy it. Really
so this
fun.
is the thing. I have a question for those of you who play this, because I haven't played a Monster Hunter game.
Mhm.
Is it literally just like is the whole game just upgrade your gear and then go have like a boss fight basically with one monster, and then go upgrade your gear and then go do another one monster boss fight over and over again? Is that just the whole game? Because that's the vibe I get, and that
More or
doesn't
less.
sound super thrilling.
You go on like missions essentially where you travel out to like a mission area, and there are usually 3 big boss monsters in that area, and your mission is to hunt one of them specifically. And once you kill that one, your mission's over. But you can like hunt the other ones if you want to get the materials. You can hunt smaller monsters. You can go foraging for whatever you need.
Got it. It's not like it doesn't sound like this. It's real big on like story.
Oh, there's a gripping
story.
story. There's a town, and they're like,
Yeah.
that monster's really big.
You have
You
to
should go
talk to
kill it.
maybe 25 to 30 NPCs before you get to your first hunt.
Oh,
You don't have to talk to them,
Jesus.
but you know.
The introduction is brutal.
Yeah.
There was a while where I was like, I might have to drop this game. I don't know. Monster Hunter is a little notorious for not teaching players well, so I think for this one, they were like, okay, we will just explain everything to the player. So you go and you talk to someone, you're like, and they're like, oh, go talk to the shopkeep. And a menu comes up and it's like, the shopkeep sells items. And it's like, okay, that's great. And then you go talk to the shopkeep. He's like, hi, I sell items. And then another menu pops up and it's just walls and walls and walls of text for every single thing it tells you about.
My
But then
favorite
you go
part
to the
is when
training area,
there you go.
and there's only like it only shows you like 2 moves. You
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah,
It's like
the most
I don't know
complex
how to
part of
use
the
this
game.
weapon at all.
The
Yeah.
most
Teach
complex
me
part of the
anything.
game. No tutorials at all.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the tutorials is when they pop up and you go through them and then you hit the button to close it and then it pops up again and it's like, are you sure you want to close this tutorial? And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
close it, please.
I don't know. I think my favorite was when like I read one. It was like, you can gather gloopy dupes to upgrade your pedal lace. And I was like, I don't know what any of that means. Why did you even bother telling me? Like, just nonsense. But like, honestly, just get past that part. It's really bad. I do hope in the next one they make, which I think is coming out next year, I hope they at least streamline it a little bit.
Mhm.
Like, at least don't pop up text menus to explain it to me.
Yeah.
You've been playing a lot of solo. What
I have.
weapon have you been going down?
I
Or have you
have
been switching a lot?
I have been switching a ton, which is the other thing that I keep
Okay.
enjoying, because I see an armor piece and I'm like, ooh, that would actually be really good for long swords, or oh, that'd be really fun for like a bow build. And so then I gotta craft it, and then I gotta craft a good bow to
A
try it
bow
out.
build.
I try a little bit.
Mm.
I don't know, bow has not been my favorite. Right now I'm really into long swords. They have a move where you can you sheath your weapon and then you do like a quick draw move, and it's basically a counter where if you draw it right as an enemy's hitting you, you mitigate all damage and you do a crap ton of damage to them, which is cool. The other thing I
And it
really
ups
like
your
about
buff
it,
level too.
yes, I was just about to talk about that. Every weapon, it's not just a different move set. They have different mechanics. So the long sword, as you hit, you build up this bar, and then you can do certain moves that will increase your charge level, which lets you do other stuff. Basically, you're building up this bar to increase your charge level and do all this other stuff. But then hammers are more like you charge up the weapon, and then you can unleash it to do a big attack. And then bow obviously is going to be ranged, and you can dodge between each shot to do a charge move without having to sit there charging up your shot, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right? And then so each one is obviously they swing different and they're going to be different speeds and stuff, but you also have different considerations as you're fighting, which I think keeps it really, really fresh.
Almost like a little mini game for each weapon type
Yeah.
to figure out
Basically, yeah.
how to use them. Yeah.
That's really cool. I have also really enjoyed the hunting horn. It's basically its mechanic is that you have different songs that you play, and they give a little buff to you and your allies. So it'll be okay, if you press your Y button attack twice, it'll increase everyone's attack. If you hit the B attack button twice, you'll increase everyone's defense. And then you can kind of string them together in really fun ways.
I remember liking the hunting horn a lot more in World.
Oh yeah.
It's just kind of I think the way it handled was a lot better in World, weirdly.
We want to talk about handling. I feel like my biggest gripe, and it honestly is just Monster Hunter might not be for me, is that I feel like I'm a semi-truck trying to move around a boss whose agility is like a cheetah. And
Yeah.
I, anytime maybe it's the weapons I'm using, and because greatsword hammer, it's just I slam it down, and then it's there. It's just I've already gotten hit.
Those are
I'm
like the
flying.
slowest
Those are
weapons.
the two slowest. I
Well,
want to go
like-
for some daggers or something.
Man, but then daggers do like 0 damage, and like I don't
Actually,
know.
daggers do
Chad,
really, really good
I
damage.
want
'cause
you to
swing
know
really
you are
fast.
describing every video game where daggers are fast but do less damage. Big great
Yeah.
sword do much damage very slow.
I mean,
This is a core
jump
concept
attack in
of
Elden Ring, my guy.
every fantasy game in existence.
It's like really exacerbated in Monster Hunter though.
Oh,
Like
it
if you're
is.
using one of those really slow weapons, you really have to know
Have you played Final
basically in
Fantasy?
advance what the monster's gonna do, so that you can line up your attack for where they're gonna be.
Yeah. I will say it's also really exacerbated in multiplayer. Multiplayer is just chaos, just
It is.
absolute anarchy.
Yeah.
Whereas in single player, it actually feels like I'm fighting a boss and not trying to chase down this monster that's
Yeah.
ping-ponging all over the battlefield.
Yeah.
Also, I think the multiplayer scaling for like defenses on bosses is too much
It
because it's
seems
so
to be
hard to
really
get the
hard.
wire bug moves on them. To like
Yeah.
chain them down with those
Yeah.
in multiplayer. It's so easy in single player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do
Yeah, it
the,
def-
do
Go
the
ahead.
monsters move across the battlefield that fast in comparison to the players?
Oh yeah.
In multiplayer, absolutely. Actually, even in single player, yeah.
there
they're
were
really quick.
multiple times where I would walk over to where the monster was, prepare an attack, and by the time I planted my feet, the monster was already gone. Like it was incredible the amount of times that happened. I'm
Incredible.
like, I guess I just won't hit him. Like,
If you
you're
have
right.
your weapon out, you move at a snail's pace.
You move very slowly. You
It
get to
is-
sheath your weapon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you move
And
much
then
faster
sprint.
with your weapon sheath. That makes sense in real life.
I didn't even
too.
know that.
Yeah, yeah.
That wasn't tutorialized anywhere. Like,
Of all the things that weren't tutorialized.
I mean, that does make sense because in CS:GO, you move faster with your knife out than your AK. So like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a video game knowledge thing that I
Yeah.
should know.
It's not based on what's on your body. It's based on what's in your hands.
Yes. That makes me slower too. If I'm carrying a couple things in my hands, I'm much slower at moving in general.
Bro, give me a
Makes
giant
sense.
60-pound box in my hands, slow. My back, I'm running
You're
a 400
full
meter
speed.
dash in
Sprinting.
56 seconds.
Sprinting.
Full speed.
You can use the dash when you're carrying an egg, though. You're
Yeah.
carrying a big egg, you can use the little wire dash, that's fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whatever.
If you
Whatever.
if you see somebody carrying an egg and you are on your mount,
my
do not
God.
hit Y next to
Yeah.
them.
You will knock the egg straight out of their hand. They're gonna have to walk all the way back and get another.
Also, like movement is better in this game just by default because the wire bugs exist.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
They're
I
not
always
in
noticed
previous
that.
games.
Because I
The
could
wire
not.
bug is
Monster
it's-
Hunter World was awful.
It's basically a grappling hook.
Yeah.
For people who don't know what a wire bug is.
You have multiple
grappling
charges.
hook.
You can grapple wherever you want.
It's a grappling hook that can grapple midair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
You can also use it to do like super attacks essentially on the bosses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fun.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed it. It's a port of a Switch game, and I feel like it shows in a lot of ways. The maps
Mhm.
feel kind of small. I don't know if World was bigger or not. But these maps feel kind of small. You also, I feel like it's kind of weird. You don't really, you're supposed to like hunt the monster, but they're just marked on your mini map as soon as you
Yeah.
load in. So it's just like, I mean, now I just got to run over
That-
there, I guess.
That is a Rise thing. Like in World,
Yeah.
you had to go find like footprints and poop and stuff
Mm-hmm.
and like track them
love
down.
poop.
You had to go poop.
And then you'd be fighting
Yeah.
it, and it would leave, and you'd have to go find it again.
Yeah, you'd have to
Hunt
track it down again.
I mean,
The maps did feel bigger in World 2 just because you were so much slower to get around. Like you don't have a mount.
Oh, the wire
They
bug.
made a
and
world
the wire
mount.
bug.
yeah, there was a World too. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
is World a port as well, or was it like a?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay, so
Yes,
this,
PC.
but this one specifically is a port.
A Switch
Yeah.
port, which I
Yeah.
think that's why it's designed like this, because it's designed for, oh, you're on the bus and you want to just
Yeah.
crank out a quick hunt. Well, you can't do these like hour-long hunts
Right.
where you track it down. It's like, okay, just go fight
Yeah.
that guy. He's over there. Get on your mount and use your grappling hook. Just fucking get
Yeah.
there and beat him
That
up.
is nice.
It is. I mean, it does make it more fun, but I'm really interested to try maybe a more expanded style, which hopefully next year's Monster Hunter will.
Yeah, I'm wondering which
Let me
direction it'll go
experience
because you do have mounts in that one. They're introducing mounts.
Oh yeah.
So
A little bit of me wonders, and this is almost baseless speculation, but if they're going to go for more of a fully connected open world, feels like that would be a logical step for them to take. But I don't know.
maybe.
I'm a very
Be
new
interesting.
fan. Yeah.
Might pick it up and then hate it again.
Yep.
It's for some reason that's a Monster Hunter thing with me. I'll pick it up because people are playing it, and I'll be like, I don't like this game, and then but like I'll still pop on every once in a while, I'll be like remind myself, oh yeah, I don't like the way that it moves.
Speaking
last
of
but
not
not
liking
least-
the way things move.
Oh, good. I never know
No.
when to transition in
this
the
is
group
the
game.
this was the
He
transition.
just
Transition.
transitioned you,
Oh.
baby.
Yeah.
Go ahead, do that again because that was nice.
Speaking of not liking the way things move, being chained together really sucks.
Man, I'm
No.
gonna write that one down. Hold
No.
on.
Being chained together sucks.
Chained together. It's like a 4-player, literally chained together, only
Like
up.
a platformer, Souls-like.
It's like all those.
What do they call it? It's like a Fadian game.
Yeah. Like
Fadian?
Bennett
Fadian.
game.
Like getting over it with Bennett Foddy.
Yeah.
Foddy,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Because
Yeah.
he started the quote unquote genre of try to climb high, but if you fall, you fall all the way down.
So it's like
to the
mountain
start.
climbers.
The two penguin game, whatever.
What
Penguin
was
Heist?
that? That's Bread and Fred.
Yeah, that's Bread and Fred.
Mhm.
Fred.
This
So
game,
chained together.
this game, I cannot think of another game in recent history that, for me at least, has caused me to sweat as much as this game has. Man, we got done playing, and I was like, I might have to go change my shirt. What just happened? It was only
Wow.
like an hour.
Yeah,
We
we
need
played
another session of
Bread and
that in.
Hour.
We only made it like a third of the way up. Maybe
was-
not even.
oof.
a third
If
of the way.
that.
Not even. Yeah.
I really
It-
think we need to go through with checkpoints first, and then after that, we could do it like we mastered this game. Let's go through without them now.
Game is brutal though. It's a lot of jumping and a lot of traps and a lot of things you don't think about or are slightly falling off. The nice features I think of the game are, yes, you are chained together, which means if somebody falls, you have the opportunity to pull them up by the chain to get them back onto the platform you're standing on, which is kind of nice. But when you're standing on a freaking tree trunk and you're trying to pull somebody up and then you fall off the other side, it's not going.
Mhm.
It's bad. Just bad.
So
Straight
why
up.
why are you falling off?
I'm not good at
That's a good
games.
question.
That's
Yeah.
a great question,
I don't
Jeremy.
get it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not good at games.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I will
I have
also
an
say you need to like the sound of somebody in your group's voice because they are going to be making callouts a lot, and it's going to be the same things over and over again. And so it boiled down to 2-1 jump, 2-1 jump, 2-1 jump.
Mhm.
A lot of that.
Oh man.
It's an interesting game. I think we'll try it again, but I will be surprised if we don't get immediately frustrated again with some.
Hey, it took us an hour to
That's
get
kind of the
frustrated.
point of those games.
Yeah, it very much so is.
I mean,
I wasn't
there's
frustrated.
different parts that we were looking at that I honestly think are checkpoints throughout. There's just random platforms that are just
Probably.
there, and
Yeah.
so I think with the CPs, we got this.
All right,
You
try it
gotta
with the
fall good.
CPs.
Gotta
Yeah,
fall
fall
good,
good.
yeah.
That's right. Chad, let's move on to you. What have you been playing?
Yeah, so I'm gonna make you upset and do this out of order. So we it's not just me actually. I had a couple of us play Oh Dear. So this is why I'm doing this out of order because it's kind of a group game. Oh Dear is a game where there's one hunter and there are several deer. I think maximum of 4 deer, so maximum of 5 players. That could be true. Could be
I think
more.
that's-
I don't know.
That's correct.
Essentially, the hunter is trying to figure out which deer are not the AI deer and kill them before night falls and full moon happens or something, and the deer become
deer
like
turn
deer
into
wolves,
wendigos.
like wendigos.
Mm.
And so then the hunter has to make it back to his shelter before he gets killed, but he moves so slow compared
The
to the
deer
wendigos.
moves pretty fast.
The deer on the opposite side are trying to eat mushrooms to keep their hunger gauge down to where their stomachs don't growl, and they can hit a button to move faster, but the way they move faster is they poop or fart or whatever you want to call that, and you can hear that audibly. And then you can also sprint, which makes you run on your back 2 feet, so you're actually like up in the air, noticeable, not like the other deer. And so essentially it's just a, what is that, prop hunt kind of game, but it's with just deer. and there are like a ton of deer everywhere doing all sorts of things. Nibbling on the grass, hiding in bushes, walking around. It's just a silly, good time kind of game.
Every time a deer eats a mushroom, it gives the hunter an indicator of where that came from.
Mm.
It's a
Yeah,
sound
that's
effect.
another way they
It
hunt
gives
them.
like a
Also, the
directional
hunter
direction.
has cameras they could put up, but the cameras don't visually see anything. They don't show you. It's not like a Rainbow Six Siege. Let me throw out a camera and look at it on my phone. It's just a sensor that like it'll like ping if something walks by it, or like eats or farts near it.
That's something out of the ordinary.
Yeah, something that's not deer-like, might be a fun game to pick up and play in the extra live stream for maybe a half an hour.
5 people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 people, something like that.
Okay.
Maybe there's a mod to make it more. Who knows? We've always had good history with mods over the
Good
years.
history
and-
with mods. We got to bring Hidden back. I'm positive this year it's got to come back.
So another game that shockingly you guys didn't know I was playing is Destiny 2.
What?
What?
No.
Yeah. So quickly before I get into my gameplay news, History 2, not History 2, Destiny 2 is coming out with episodic, seasonal content, of course. It was actually announced that Episode 2, not Act 2 and 3, the ones that we're about to go into, but Episode 2 is going to all drop at the same time. There's going to be no time gating. Just you can play at your own pace. So we'll see how that works out and how
That's
much
nice.
people complain about how they've blasted through the content. There's nothing to do.
Okay, those people just stop. Just stop. No. I'm totally okay with them letting people go through at their own pace.
Yeah.
But the people who want to be like blast through the entire thing in 3 hours and then they're like, Bungie never puts anything out for us to play in Destiny.
Astacross actually had a good point at one point. He was like frustrated with his chat talking like that. And he was like, do you have every exotic in the game? Do you have every god roll that you ever want? Let me see your vault. Open your dim. Show me your dims. Come on. And it's true. I mean, there's like a lot of content that you can, I like today, and yesterday I went through 150 runs of Grasp of Avarice Ogre Boss just to try to get a shotgun. There's stuff you can do in this game. Okay.
Yep.
Another thing that I did is run 0 hour multiple times because I was trying to get a very fast time and also solo it and then potentially help others do it because I started to notice after running Joe through it that there's a lot of people doing the LFG and like not getting it done. One guy that I was with said that he was doing it for like 2-3 hours and like every time he gets to the boss room he'd fail. So like being able to help somebody get Outbreak perfected, which is being used a lot in the GMs, is like something really cool. And then like having them like be thankful and like actually excited after and like either hear them in text chat saying like, yo, like we couldn't have done this without you, or like it's a good feeling. It's kind of cool. So I did succeed on expert 0 hour by myself. So that, I mean, still Hunt helps with that, but
Yeah. Only a hunter could do that.
yeah, it was still, even with still Hunt, I think I had like 20-30 seconds left. Like it was crazy. I got to the end with like 9 minutes and 30 seconds left. Like I have to hit every button myself in the little maze room. I have to kill like everything in the start myself. Like there's a bunch of like weapon changes that I did all throughout. Eager edging, using mountaintop to skip something. Like, oh, it was great though. Like it was like I felt like it was an elongated what's that, neon white. It was just that like that, I was just trying to master the speed run of one level, So that's
Is
been
there
fun.
anything that you get for soloing it on expert?
No,
The
it's a
satisfaction of
triumph.
knowing that you did it?
Satisfaction.
Okay, it is not like a. There's
Which
there's a solo, and there's probably like a solo flawless, right?
There's a solo flawless and a solo, and I don't think either of them need to be done on expert.
Right. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
So, yeah, I think the enemies are the same difficulty on both, though.
So he just did it.
Yeah, I just did it. So yeah,
He knows. Now he knows. He's better than you, Alex.
Mm-mm.
I also wanted to get the bunny ghost, and the only way you get the bunny ghost is to solo a dungeon called Prophecy. And so I went through and soloed it, and I was like, "Oh, this is a pretty easy dungeon." And so then I went through and solo flawlessed it. So yeah,
Like
Did
that dude. There was a story of the guy that like does a bunch of solo stuff, and he couldn't do dual destiny because it requires 2 players. So he
Yep.
played both players himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got 2 accounts and just did
I
it
just need
himself.
somebody's account so I could try that.
You can have mine. I'd love more hunter cloaks.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Speaking of that, since we're on Destiny 2's topic, Alex, can you explain the new dual
Oh
Destiny
my gosh.
exploit?
Oh my. So yeah, so the old exploit was like you pick up the class item at the same time and then go back to a certain section where it triggers the like turn back thing and then let it pull you back in and then go pick them up again. And that was
super
like
simple.
super simple.
Real good.
They fixed that. So the new one is you gotta, when you spawn in, make sure you don't touch the ground for more than like 0.1 seconds. Like you're constantly hopping to make sure you don't set a spawn point. You hop all the way over to the class item. You make sure you both grab it at the same time. You jump off the map and kill yourselves. You respawn back where your spawn point was. You use this special exotic to create an ice bolt underneath you that blocks your spawn point, and then kill yourself again without touching the ground. You do that 2 or 3 more times to get your spawn point moved 2 or 3 more times until the level is just like, fine, we're spawning you at the very beginning of the level because you keep on not being able to be spawned. Then you go through the entire level again, except for there's this one spot in the level where you can't get through without actually doing the thing that the level makes you do when you're doing it regularly. So you have to break the game, get out of the map, and then use either Mountaintop or the Strand exotic that lets you repeatedly make grapple points
Or grapple points,
to
yeah.
get super high in the air and get outside the map and underneath this other part of the map to where you can get back into the final boss room. Make sure you don't touch the ground again, get over to the class item again, and both take it at the same time. You have to do all that within the like 10-minute timer at the end of the game.
What I want to know is who figured that out.
I don't know how you figure something like that out.
Right?
Like how?
I could envision figuring out the jumping part. Maybe the blocking the spawn with ice part. Maybe. But like after that, like what? Like
Yeah. That's crazy.
oh boy. That's a fun game though.
Yeah.
I think they killed it with the final shape. I think we've already talked about that.
They did.
I'm excited to see what they do with the
As in they
episodic
did
stuff.
a good job, not as in Destiny's dead.
Oh, yeah.
Just making sure.
Good job. Good job. I'm excited to see what they do with the episodes. Hopefully Act 2's a little better, and then Act 3, is good, and then hopefully the episodes just kind of keep me involved. I think they're coming out with the Solstice event here soon. That was announced on their blog, whatever the VidDoc or whatever they call it.
Mhm.
I hope you can get the ornaments and keep them forever, unlike previous solstice years.
Yeah, I wonder how the armor farm will be. That's the last time I farmed armor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Alex, what have you been playing?
Yeah, speaking of Destiny, I was playing the first Descendant.
Oh boy.
The Destiny killer?
The Destiny Killer.
Mm.
I don't know. This game is kind of like Warframe with more Destiny-like gameplay. So there's like a lot of Warframe systems in terms of like how the mods work and how there's like a bunch of characters that are all essentially frames. And there's like, you put a ton of mods into weapons and your frames to do build crafting stuff. And you craft those mods by getting copies of them and breaking them down and putting them into each other and all that kind of stuff. Man, this game is like, I think the gameplay is like pretty fun, but man, is it a slog. Like, there's a story. The story, first of all, how long is the story in Destiny? Like 6 hours maybe or something like that?
What are we talking about? From like Beyond Light all the way to the final shape? Or
No, like a content drop. So like the final shape itself.
okay.
Yeah,
I think
probably like
6
something like
hours.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4, 6, somewhere.
This story mode in this game is like 25 hours long. It
That's
doesn't have
long.
it doesn't have any story missions. The story consists of you talk to some people and they tell you things about the story, and then they say, all right, we got problems in this area on this map, and you go to that map, and then you do various, they're basically like public events in gameplay style. It's like, you go to an area and then there's these 3 plates and you got to defend them, or like you go to an area and there are a bunch of dudes that spawn, you just got to kill them all, or there's like one of like 4 activities that you do, and it just repeats those 4 activities forever. In every part of the story, you go back to base, you talk to Alpha again. He's like, oh my, we can't trust the guide. We don't know the guide. We gotta trust ourselves. The descendants are who we trust. There's a Colossus on the horizon. We gotta go. There's this new area. Go do missions in that area for another 30 minutes. And then you're like, all right, cool. And you go do the same 4 activities over and over again. And it's so mindless. But for some reason, I did it for like 10 hours. And I don't know, like the gameplay is pretty fun. You get a grappling hook. What's not to like about a grappling hook? I played a girl named Bunny.
Of course you
and
did.
She's like, her kit's pretty cool. She's got a move where she does AoE damage around herself, and the amount of damage is based on how far she travels. And she has another move that makes her sprint really fast. So you just end up combining them and just murdering people around you. And it's very satisfying. And you can combine that with the grappling hook because you can like fly through people and it does an absurd amount of damage. It's a fun gameplay loop.
There's like no set pieces, no big boss fights.
There are, every once in a while you hit a Colossus fight, and that is like their one set piece thing. And I think that's going to be like the end game loop, is doing these Colossus fights on hard mode or whatever. But it's basically this one arena. It's the same arena every time. It's like a void space. It's like a virtual arena, and there's like a really big dude. And it's not like a Destiny fight where there's like mechanics or anything. It's just a hard fight that takes a while. The mechanics, I guess, are there are weak points on the boss that you have to shoot.
Okay.
Which is like the mechanic for every shooter boss in history besides Destiny. And then if you shoot those points enough, you can grapple onto those points and like break them. So I guess that's something. But that's about it. Otherwise, you're just dodging attacks and shooting at the boss with 3 other people. And that's your boss fight. And then you go back out and you keep on doing those same 4 activities again. And you're trying to get materials the whole time to craft things. So I got my first exotic, quote unquote, weapon. And it was after doing a ton of missions to get a ton of resources that I then put into this lady and told her I wanted this exotic. And then she said, come back in 4 real world hours. 4 hours from now, this exotic will be ready for you.
No serious?
way. Actually time gated?
Why?
Yes.
Why?
And then once you get it, it's level 1. And instead of like feeding it a weapon to infuse it, which is what you have to do, but you can't do that without the item, like the upgrade module. And the upgrade module is an item you have to go craft from that lady. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I'll go craft one.
Does it take 4 hours?
It takes 10 real world minutes to craft one of those upgrade modules.
Why?
I was like,
time gate, dude.
ooh, buddy, that's
Was their previous game an idle game?
I don't know what they've done in the
More
past.
importantly, do they sell an item for real world money that will replace
Bet they
the
do.
time? I bet they do.
There's
Oh, I hate everything about this game.
everybody's using Bunny because she's got the nice assets, right? And then there's a skin that in that game that she. And I'm not saying assets like good guns, weapon. No, like boobs and butt. You know, I didn't have to say
it was
that,
too subtle. Yeah.
I still need to draw the picture for you. So there's one where there's just a butt cheek floss. So you can either grind for it, which will take like forever, and then once you have all the materials, it takes forever to craft it. Or you can pay $100. I mean, you can just get it right there. You know,
$100 skin.
I
saw a lot of people with this skin.
I hate this game.
Yeah, and if you see a lot of people with the skin, and it's like the first day or two, there's no way they grinded that.
No. Her outfit, it's like Cammy's costume, but even more revealing, if you
Oh,
can
yeah, dude.
imagine that.
You got nice assets.
Yeah. Anyway, I probably wouldn't recommend playing too much of that game. It is free to play, so hopping in for a couple hours with Frank and Ashley was pretty fun on just like a weekend day when we weren't doing nothing. But I'm not gonna invest like a lot of time in it,
It is
Destiny style or anything.
mixed on Steam right now. 49,000 reviews.
Yeah, it feels very much like you're gonna hit the point where it's very pay to win,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
that style game. I also played Void Crew, which is an early access co-op spaceship game. You got your party on a spaceship, and you kind of run around like Sea of Thieves style, where like somebody will pilot it and somebody will go hop on a cannon, and somebody's like in the engine bay powering up the jump drive and stuff like that sort of thing. It's been pretty fun. It's purely PvE, so it's not like you're running into other players. And it's got like missions that you run down. It looks like there's like a few options for that, and then they've got like a roguelike endless mode that they just added. So you fly around and you fight aliens, and you get upgrades for your ship, and you like get better weapons and better like power stuff. Like you can't run all your stuff at the same time in the beginning because your power generator's not strong enough, so you keep on like flipping stuff on and off and managing stuff like that. It's pretty fun. It's a little
But sometimes when you
definitely
say
a Frank game,
it's pretty fun. It just
yeah, you know.
man, it doesn't.
Comes across very hollow.
Wait, so
Yeah.
are you telling me that once you get your power generator like upgraded, you could just leave pretty much everything on?
Like Frank and I were playing earlier, and we had a second power generator, so we were able to leave more stuff on at the same time. There's also like power cells you can put into things.
Man, because I really enjoyed the limitation of like, okay, we have like this thing on the back of the ship that like if you back up into things, it'll like reach out and grab the items that we want and pull it in. But
Like,
if
gravity
that's
scoop.
on, and you have to turn off the life support because also the turrets were on, so you have to like manage all that. And I feel like the mental process of like, let me turn this off before I leave, and then like hop on the turret and turn that, like that was part of the whole.
There was
puzzle,
still
and,
a
like,
bunch of that going on. I think especially because you get more stuff that you need to power over time, and you get better stuff, which presumably takes more power.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. There's also like you can just open the airlock at any time and just go outside the ship with a jetpack. And there's reasons to do that sometimes. There's like shipwrecks and stuff like that. You go into them and find gear and stuff like that. And then there's just times where somebody doesn't tell you that they're trying to go outside to repair a side panel, and you freaking launch them across space because you hit them with the ship. And it's very funny.
I don't know who would have done that.
Yeah.
Ben, how about you?
So, kind of this past couple weeks, I've kind of dipped my toes in a couple different games. The one I've been playing the most has been a lot more of the Tiny Rogues game I talked about a couple weeks ago. Gotten further in there. It's interesting. The game is very much this sort of roguelike where every time you beat it, it unlocks more content and you go a little further. Like, I beat it the first time and it was like, great job. Now beat it 5 more times. Beat it with a total of 5 different classes. And you like unlock different classes as you go. So I've got, I want to say like maybe 12 different classes I can play as now. And after I beat the like final boss 5 times, like it was like, great job. Now you can go past the final boss. And I'm like, okay. And I walked past it and I like did like 2 more levels. And then it was just like, hey, you don't have the correct alignment to continue. So you die. And it was just like, and now there's like shops I can go to where I can do and ways to up my alignment, which wasn't even in the game before. And now I have to have a certain alignment, and I can progress to this new Shadow Realm zone I can go to. And I've looked a little bit into this, and there's there's Heaven and Hell that I'll eventually get to also. And apparently once I beat the Shadow Realm with a class, every individual class unlocks basically a prestige class I can play as once I've beat it. So I'm making a lot of progress in there. It's still very fun, and I'm enjoying the fact that as I get further, it's not just prolonging the game, it's also unlocking more content in the regular runs too. It's not just, I'm doing the same regular run over and over again. So now there's different rooms, different items, there's different stuff going on. So still enjoying that a lot.
I'm gonna have to try it soon.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
A couple other games, stuff I've kind of dipped my toes in. I played some of Death Must Die. I don't know, have any of you guys done that one before? It's kind
I
of...
own it and haven't played it yet.
It's pretty good. I like it. It's like Vampire Survivors, like, sort of. Like that style of game.
Yeah.
But it's got basically the Hades style of like gods giving you like power-ups. So as you go through normal Vampire Survivor, you get enough experience, you get a level up. But similar to Hades, there's different gods in the game that will give you like a god will show up and give you 3 level up options that are themed based on that god, and then you can kind of build around certain keywords depending on the gods. So that's pretty interesting. And unlike Vampire Survivors, this one has a equipment system, so you can get like armor and weapons and stuff, and the armor persists between runs. So between runs, you have like a chest where you can like swap out what armor your character's wearing, and you can upgrade stuff with a blacksmith or buy new things from a shop and then go back in. So you still have that sort of meta progression of you get a little bit better every run. I haven't played that one as much, but it's been pretty enjoyable. There's 3 different classes I've unlocked so far that you can play as. But if you like Vampire Survivors, I'd recommend giving it a shot. I played a little bit of Hell of an Office, which is one that we tried at PAX this past year. That one's basically, think it's neon white style game where you're racing through and trying to get to the end of the level as fast as possible and trying to beat your times. The main mechanics of this one is just you have a basically the plot is you've decided you work in an office building that's in hell and being run by the devil. You have a stapler that you can shoot staples out that explode that lets you basically rocket jump, and then you can also dash forwards. So the entire game is just you doing a combination of rocket jump dashing in order to get to the end of the level as fast as possible. Other than that, it's neon white style, like I said, so you're just kind of a race sort of game, and then you can reset really quickly and try to get to the end of the level as quick as possible.
Sounds awesome.
And the last one I just tried out a little bit last night is one called The Farmer Was Replaced. It's a little indie game. It's kind of like a incremental idle type game. But unlike a lot of these other ones, the plot of this one is you control a drone that is basically farming little like square plots of land, and you're going through and like you farm a thing, you get a coin, and there's upgrades. It's a normal incremental type thing. But the interesting one that I've kind of been poking at for this one is that the drone is entirely run via what I think is a simplified version of basically Python programming. So the game actually runs you through really basic tutorials of like the logic behind like Python coding. And as you go through the level up tree, you unlock new different like things you can do. Like at the very beginning, it's like, hey, this is the command you run to basically harvest. And then there's a move command. And then like one of the first upgrades is you unlock a while loop. So you can, use while this, then do this thing. And then later you unlock if like statements. And it's sort of, it's interesting as somebody who I've poked at coding a little bit, and it's interesting the way it's leading you through and slowly teaching you different commands and like the logic of stuff while also still being kind of like an incremental video game.
I was gonna ask if is it like intended to be like a teaching tool for people?
I have to imagine it is. Like, it is literally, when you open the game up, it explains that it's based on Python and calls out, like, if you know Python, you can actually skip ahead a bunch of the tutorials if you start messing around with the coding, if you already know what you're doing. So it seems like it is intended to a degree to teach people, like, coding logic. Not knowing Python, I don't know how similar or different it is from actual Python, but it seems like that's very much a goal of this game, is teaching.
That's cool.
I've only played like maybe an hour of it, so I'm not very far in, but it's pretty fun. I'm a big fan of idle games, so I'm giving it a solid shot.
Cool. Last but not least, Caleb.
Alex and I played a game called Bokura. It is a Bokura.
Oh.
It is a 2-player puzzle adventure game where you're 2 young boys who run away from home and end up trying to survive in a forest. And the puzzle plays out where each person can see a different version of the world, basically. So Alex got a nice, fun romp through a robotic wasteland, and I got to experience a mutant hellscape. So that was fun. But it's got some pretty cool mechanics where, like, things that you see as just a little block on their side are like a giant pole holding a chain that you have to move for them so that they can climb up and get somewhere, to push a button for you or something like that. So there's a ton of required communication for solving all these various puzzles. And it's got a pretty endearing story. I really enjoyed it, actually. What do you think, Alex?
I thought it was a lot of fun. It's quite short and it's very clever. I think the coolest part is just like hearing Caleb react to stuff that I cannot react to, and being like, what are you talking about? And like, I got like a robot dog that raised a platform off its back, and he's like, did you not just see a freaking dog's spine pop out of its torso and extend up into the air?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, you know, just horrific, gruesome stuff that he kept on seeing. And I was just playing with some robots, man. Just having a good old time in the far future.
Yeah. If you play the game again on the opposite character, you get some achievements. And if you play it a third time with the same person, there's like a really short 15-minute snippet where you like don't really play the game, but you go through the opening sequence again like 15 years later or something, which I thought was really neat. And it's not a long game. It's like 3 hours, I think it took us to beat it. But we didn't end up going back for multiple runs.
I really love 2-player co-op games that require like constant communication like that. It's excellent. Just really fun, really enjoyable. 3 hours is really not an investment either. That's a good couch co-op game, seems like.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Good story. Highly recommend.
Cool.
Not really couch co-op. You can't really. You're not allowed to
couch
see.
co-op this one. Yeah, you can't couch co-op.
You're not allowed to see what they
yeah,
see.
I guess that's true.
This one's online only, or different machines only, I suppose.
Couch co-op. You're both sitting on the couch playing on your Steam Deck.
You could do that.
And hide the screen from each other. Sure.
Yeah.
No, you do the like the old school where you get like a sheet and then you tape it in the middle of the screen and you split screen it and bring the sheet. Yeah. Heck yeah, man.
There's even actually sections in the game where it's like, don't communicate right now because the characters separate for a short time. Which I thought was interesting.
Very cool.
You learn during those sections, you learn vastly different parts of the story. It's very interesting.
Yeah. It's unclear if you're supposed to like.
I just swapped I swapped to the main screen and it was like, oh yeah, no, you're done.
Is this the equivalent of like
twice.
playing someone off stage?
I
Like,
think it is.
You got
Keywed. All right, I got it that time. It only clicked it once that time. Anyway, Kim, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean
I don't
to
know what I was saying.
Yeah.
It wasn't important.
Freaking A. Anyway, that's a good way to wrap up our 200th episode.
Incredible. By the
Ben,
way,
if you- Go ahead.
I realized something. We didn't do hints for the Immaculate Grid.
Yeah, you're
sure.
not allowed to do hints.
Because we had an asterisk, there weren't any.
We do have an
hints.
asterisk.
Yeah,
Oh, but wait, so we don't do hints for any?
Yeah.
not if there's an asterisk.
Not if I do an
Stupid.
asterisk.
That's what Aaron said the rule was.
That's what Aaron
All right.
decided.
You guys don't like the asterisk ones, so I'll make one without asterisks next time.
Is it just easier to make one with an asterisk?
He doesn't have to come up
Um,
with clues.
I would say like the most difficult component of making the game is when I get to a third row or category. Like I filled out 6 spots. I have 3 left to go, and there's always one overlap between 2 categories that's like a lot of games. And so I have to go back and redo
You just make
like
it
a
a
whole
one.
row or column. So I end up just being like, I can just make this the asterisk version. Or
You
make
can
it
just
a
make
1.
it a 1 and don't do clues for that one. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I can
Just
do
don't
that
do
too.
clues for that one.
Yeah.
Killing me on no clues for any of them.
You guys, honestly, I think you just need to get better at knowing video games.
Yeah, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good
Also,
luck.
I don't know what's
I
wrong.
need to get
Yeah,
better
it's
at knowing
pretty
my
good.
own Steam library.
Ben, the fact that you messed up on Kingdoms of Amalur is
Bad.
like
Man.
that
Pretty
made
crushing.
my day. I didn't
That
even
hurts.
care how bad you guys did. That was the best part of Immaculate Grid for sure.
So funny.
I'm glad I made you happy, Aaron.
All right, well, come back in 2 weeks. Alex will have a category for me because he lost the most.
Oh,
I think you were
wow.
at 0 points. So give me
I
a
thought we were
category.
still doing Ben though.
Think about it. Still Ben. Ben,
How
had
many
his
how many
chance.
lobs are gonna hand me? You know?
Ah,
Ben
I
technically
thought he-
didn't pick this time.
I was about to say, I thought he was supposed to pick all the categories.
You know what?
They didn't
Ben?
do that.
Pick me 3 categories. How about that?
And Alex
I
picks
can't let you
one.
pick them all. 4?
All right.
So I only get 2 things?
Fine, I'll take 2.
All right.
Alex can have 1.
Yeah, Ben, you take 2 categories. Alex takes 1, and then I have to figure out how the
MOBAs
heck
again.
to make those things line up. Anyway,
I believe in you.
come back in 2 weeks. Ben will have, like we've previously agreed, beaten all of Elden Ring.
I didn't say that. I said
I'm
I'd
pretty
play
sure
it.
we agreed 2 weeks ago, and you haven't done it
I
yet.
said
So
I'd play it.
I'm extending by 2 weeks so you can beat it. You got plenty of time. This only takes 120 hours to beat the whole base
Aaron
game.
over there, like I have altered the terms of our agreement.
Quite possibly. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time. See you.